When you buy a house, you don't want to live in a bunch of big, empty rooms. You have to furnish that space. A well-decorated, tasteful home doesn't happen by accident, but it doesn't have to put you in debt either. Today, I'm talking to Mollie from the YouTube channel Design Loves Detail. She's a professional interior designer who knows all the tips on how to score the best furniture finds on a budget. I'm Gabe here to show you the small shifts that you can make in your life that will lead to a huge impact on your financial future. This is Big Change. When you're decorating a brand new place, it can be a little nerve-wracking deciding where to start, but remember, you just moved. There's zero pressure to have a fully furnished home right from the get-go. No rush to decorate every room. Start slow and put together a budget and list out the necessities. I'm talking a bed, dining room table, maybe a chair or two, probably a couch. Focus on the areas of your home that get the most use and where you spend the most time. You can even save money on quality furniture by navigating the world of slightly used. With a little creativity and patience, you can use the new generation of online classifieds to furnish your home on the cheap. Direct seller to buyer sites are a great resource for staple furniture items like dressers, couches, chairs, and tables. Here's a tip. People tend to move at the end of the month when their lease is up. Large pieces of furniture can be the biggest hassle to move, and many people would rather sell them, which means you can save big. But you don't have to take my word for it. I brought along a pro. Mollie from Design Loves Detail learned all about how to find good deals from her dad, but her cool sense of style is all her own. She's here today to help me figure out how I can decorate my home without blowing my budget. Mollie, thank you so much for coming on the show. I am super excited to talk to you today.
You're welcome, Gabe. Thanks for having me.
Well, first of all, I love your space. It looks amazing. How would you kind of define your own personal sense of style?
So my style, I call it European Organic Modern. And I know that it's original. I coined that term because there was no hashtag for it. I created the hashtag, so that means it didn't exist before, right? It's official. So I just like a really clean design with a little bit of European influence, and then also just like a lot of texture, so that's kind of where that organic comes in.
What are your favorite tips for decorating on a budget?
So budget decorating is one of my favorite things. It's actually kind of a big core of my focus because the reality is that cost of an item isn't always an indicator of value. It's crazy sometimes. Some of the best pieces that I've found really weren't that expensive, and they've really stood the test of time too. So probably my biggest tip is almost just breaking that mindset of high price equals high quality or high value.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. They can have a t-shirt that's worth $300 because it has a name on it, or the exact same thing for $5 somewhere else. Are there any other good examples of furniture you can buy used?
My entire first house was pretty much secondhand stuff. And in fact, what even built my Instagram was this one room that the entire space, it was actually my daughter's room. The entire room was from yard sales, other friends giving us stuff, just those random pieces that you collect over time. And I was like, this whole room cost $500. I hadn't even told anybody that, but I was like, it can, people loved it, not even knowing the cost. So that was kind of proof that you can definitely get that look with secondhand items as well.
When you're looking for used stuff, do you go more for the antique, vintage look or the slightly used contemporary items?
For me, kind of a mix, like a vintage dresser and some of that stuff is just so well made. You can't even beat the quality. And that's the reality of it, is you could get better quality sometimes going used. Sometimes people will list name brand stuff there and you can actually get it for a fraction of the cost. So I guess don't rule those things out either. You can for sure I found insane things, with garage sales or online, things like that.
So what should you try to get new?
For me, it's the pieces that you interact with a lot, the stuff you're gonna be sitting on, like the sofa, sectional, that kind of stuff. You just don't want an uncomfortable sofa or sectional for sure. Those are the ones where I really look to find something great and maybe spend a little bit more, just because your table like sit on it usually.
But if you do find something that you think is really cool, like maybe online, how do you find a duplicate of that from a cheaper brand?
Everybody's looking for that look-alike, and it's honestly not that hard to find. So there's a lot of people that do what I do, where we do the work for you, and so you just kind of can search this item dupe, and it might come up, online. So don't rule it out. I mean, there's some that, and what I found too is that sometimes there's like an amazing piece and it takes a little time to get a look-alike for it, but eventually they do often hit the market.
How important is measuring your space before you go shopping?
Oh yeah, that one's major, because this is a place you don't want to waste money, you don't want to lose. And I will say, I'm a creative mind, so sometimes I have to force myself to measure first, because I'll be like out shopping, I'm like, no, this is amazing. And then like my husband's more practical and he's like, dude, is it gonna fit? Is it gonna fit? And I get lucky like 9 times out of 10, but that one time that you don't get lucky, that's a huge waste of money. So when you're especially doing your first home and every penny counts, you've got to measure and just plan out as much as you can. It really will be worth the investment. And my spaces, even now, I've been doing design for many years. The ones that always come together the best are the ones that I take the time to plan out and do a design board. And there's lots of ways you can do that, just like free online places where you can drop your furniture onto to see how it all looks together. That's a good one too, with, it's kind of in those same lines of measuring importance.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I've had some close calls and actually not been able to get a mattress like up a staircase once because I didn't measure how tall the staircase was and stuff like that. So it definitely happens.
Yeah, that's true. It's not just the space it's going, but all the places it has to go through to get there, for sure, important.
What about buying things and refurbishing them?
Yeah, that's one that's like, when you're doing your first home, totally makes sense, because you have often more time than you have money. As time goes on, eventually as you get down the road, sometimes the time investment, it becomes too much. But I did so many like refinishing projects when I had my first home, almost everything. And it was like back when painting everything was really hot. I don't think that's maybe ever gone away, but I did kind of, I got burned out from it because I did it so much, but it definitely was a way to make those pieces your own and kind of customize your home. So that's, a good thing to be thinking about too when you're out looking for things secondhand, that you can always change the look a little bit too. New hardware, paint, things like that.
So you mentioned your first home a couple times. What tips would you give people who are trying to furnish their first home?
So I think it's important to think outside of the box, because usually you do have, a big investment with that first home purchase, and it's new. The home ownership is brand new, so you have a lot on your plate, and sometimes it can be a little overwhelming. But just take like one space at a time, whatever room you find yourself using the most, where you guys end up spending most of your time. Start there, and then just kind of find those pieces that make it feel like your home. And I think just knowing that you can do it little by little, you don't have to do it all at once, but also with that thinking outside of the box, all of these things we've talked about are definitely ways you can do that to save on cost and still get a really great looking home.
Yeah, I agree. You can definitely do it slow. Like, I didn't have a couch for quite a few months. I didn't have a table for like 2 years. So like, you don't have to go that extreme, but you don't need to go insane and spend a ton of money right off the bat. Like, just take it slow.
Totally.
All right, any more design tips before we go?
Just remember, it's your home. There's not like one right way to do it. I get sometimes people messaging me and they're almost just so worried about how they're gonna make it all come together and what they need to do, and it's your space. Like, so there's not just one right answer. The answer is what makes you feel at home, what makes you feel happy. It's your space, so make it feel like yours, and whatever it is that makes you happy. Don't get tied up in what the rules are or things like that. Definitely follow your heart.
Follow your heart, I love it. Well, Mollie, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
You are so welcome, Gabe.
Good advice is sometimes the most basic. Don't forget to measure your space. Not just your classics, height, width, and depth, but how much door space you have to work with too. There are even apps where you can build out a floor plan with all this info, plus the location of outlets and vents. And before you buy, don't forget to ask the seller important questions like, has this been exposed to any potential bed bugs or allergens?
Nope.
Awesome. And hey, is the price negotiable?
Sure.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
You could save anywhere from $5 on a bookshelf to $100 on a bedroom set. And one more thing, if you're picking up items in person, bring a buddy with you. If you find something that's almost perfect, don't forget, you can always sand and refinish just about anything, from no thanks to showpiece. You can even hire a professional and still save money overall. Vintage chair, $20, reupholstery, $150, selling an updated vintage chair, anywhere from $200 to $1,000. Once you're all settled on the basics, look for home accents like artwork, lamps, vases, and indoor plants. Furniture is one of those inevitable costs of first-time homeownership. But with good budgeting, repurposing, and refurbishing, you can make your new home feel not just livable, but like your own. Here's an idea. Put together a mood board that can inspire your search. And if you're looking for your own place to decorate, Rocket Homes can help with that. I want to thank Mollie for coming on the show, and I want to thank you guys for watching. If you want to see more big change, you can click right over here somewhere, and you can also like and subscribe down below.